cash flow might be coming back to Kelowna in 2026. If you're a real estate investor looking at opportunities in the real estate market, 2026 might be a game changer again for Kelowna real estate market. So could short-term rentals make money and make investment now feasible in Kelowna? We're going to break it down in this video, what 2026 is looking, and the slight possibility that we might get cash flow back in some investment properties. Hey everybody, it's Mark here with the Selling Kelowna Real Estate Group, and today we're breaking down what's actually true right now with short-term rentals and what changes might be coming that could make short-term rentals profitable again and really just open up the door for investors in Kelowna's real estate market. If you look at what we've had in the real estate market, is we're seeing pressures on the long-term rentals, bringing rents down. We've seen nothing but additional inventory hit the market, a lot of them on the rental side of the market. About 87% of current developments are going to apartments, and creating that increased supply is bringing down the rental prices. So long-term rentals are far gone in cash flow properties. There are certain properties that you can still find cash flow positive, but they're few and farther between. And with current interest rates and the downward pressure on rents, a lot of investors are looking to park their money elsewhere, either investments or taking it out of town, maybe going to Mexico, Alberta, other provinces too. So we're going to break it down where investors might be spending their money. And if you're looking to deploy it in 2026, there might be some great opportunities coming. But here's the truth. In Kelowna today, short-term rentals must be in your primary residence. So to know where we're going to go, we got to find out where we are right now. And so you must live there at least 240 days out of the year. You're also going to need a city's business license. Homes can only be short-term rent if you live on the same lot. Before, you could only rent out your main residence, but now you can rent out your carriage house or a suite in the basement. But you're only allowed one booking at a time and up to 3 bedrooms. And the city updated in this past April to better match the provincial rule, where originally they went actually harder. The city of Kelowna actually went harder than the provincial rules actually mandated Kelowna. And the big one is non-principal residents, no short-term rentals are basically allowed. So you cannot have a short-term rental if you're not living in the home or you don't have plans to live in the home. Today, Kelowna is still a tight short-term rental market. Not saying that it's impossible, comes with its headaches. And so what might be changing based on the current vacancy rate? And the whole reason why this is all coming about is just had its second consecutive year with a vacancy rate over 3%. If you rewind back time, when the short-term rental restrictions came in, the main issues were that cities needed to have a vacancy rate to be able to opt out of 3% or more for a 2-year period. So Kelowna has just hit that vacancy rate, which is now giving them the opportunity to rent out and opt out of the short-term rental restriction. But let's see what does, because every city is different. Kelowna's vacancy rate is probably about 5 to 6% in 2025. So that number matters. It means that can now apply for that provincial exemption. And this exemption is going to give more freedom to allow non-principal resident short-term rentals. City Council has already voted to support easing the rules. And that's important to note that the City Council and the city managers have all provided and are continuing to provide options moving forward. And publicly, they've come out and said they want more flexibility, especially with major tourism events coming in 2026, like the Memorial Cup. And the province is really reviewing the timeline and just checking out and making sure everything is coming in. I think one of the holdbacks we're going to see is CMHC when they finally release the numbers. And is the province going to wait until the numbers are publicly released? Or will they be able to talk with CMHC ahead of time and get the rental numbers? But right now, the earliest possible exemption date is starting in November of 2026. But the MLAs right now are pushing to move it up to May 1st of 2026. So we can hit right before the tourism season. None of this is confirmed yet, but the direction is becoming clearer as we progress and the deeper we get into it. Kelowna is going to want more options, and the province is open to discussion. And the data is supporting loosening the rules. So what does this mean for investors? It means we could see more buildings allowing short-term rentals, more units approved for tourism use, more investor-friendly zoning, and less reliance on principles and rules. And yes, the possibility of cash flow coming back to Kelowna. What a concept. Buying a property, being able to rent it out and make more money on it than you owe. That is a concept that is really bypassed us. The way we've seen home prices increase in the last 5 years, really the cash flow ability out of a lot of properties and really put it down the drain. This slice of the market opens up and we can maybe get some cash flowing rentals back into Kelowna. There's still the risk moving forward. So you want to stay smart in these decisions. Nothing is final yet. The province still has to approve any opt-outs, which it does look like they can, but timelines might shift. So you could be stuck holding them, and the rules look different than any last cycle. So if you think this opportunity is for me, we're going to break down next types of properties in where, based on my research, where there's the most likely going to be. So if you want to get that, stay tuned. We're going to break that down next. So what does this look like for short-term rentals? Where can you potentially find a short-term rental that will allow you the opportunity to rent it out without risk? We're going to break down and get into all the different buildings in Kelowna that had previously allowed short-term rentals. And if you want me to just simplify it, just reach out, give me a call. I'll send you a list of all the buildings. I can also send you current listings and any comparable sales on it. But when you're looking at it, you're going to look and see areas down in the short-term rental in the resort corridor. So these are the most common ones on Sunset Drive. So you have Discovery Bay, Waterscapes, and you also have another building, the North Building at Discovery Bay. These are all in and around that 1,000 block of Sunset Drive. Between the ones, there's multiple buildings between those two stratas. Aside from the Discovery Bay and the lagoons, you also have the Dolphins at 1093 Sunset Drive. You also have Sunset Waterfront Resort as well, 1099 Sunset Drive. There are multiple towers and things to consider, but if you do get a little bit away from that corridor downtown, you're going to look at the Cambridge House on St. Paul, or you have Soul Kelowna on St. Paul. A lot of different properties on St. Paul, and what is the game changer on them and doesn't have necessarily all the amenities of a lot of different short-term rentals have. But Brooklyn, if you ever go to the rooftop patio, you got to check that out. It is phenomenal and unmatched from any other views. Other homes, places that have a little bit different mix of types of homes. If you want to go the more studio type and keeping costs down, Cambridge House is one of a great property where you can get properties in and around $300,000. Breaking out from the downtown core, that is a majority of the ones in the downtown area. You can go to Mission Shores or the Shore, and these properties are in the Lower Mission on Lake Shore. You also have Aqua Waterfront, new build just completed on it and just taking ownership. So there's opportunities there that might be allowed, and these might be grandfathered in. Aqua Waterfront was originally set to be a short-term rental, but with all these rules, it's tough to know if that will continue and if they'll be grandfathered in terms of it. When you're looking at other buildings, one of the top short-term rental buildings in Kelowna historically has been Playa del Sol. The reason why Playa del Sol, if you see the building and the different amenities that it does have, you are getting everything you need. Price points, not too bad. You're paying a little bit higher strata fees on these properties, as you will with other properties, but there's great opportunities there in it. And especially if you want to go a different strategy route, and this is where if you pick up the phone and give me a call, we'll talk about strategy and how do you minimize short-term rental. And we do have a short-term rental currently, and we are operating it out of Big White. So we're very familiar with the short-term rental, pros and cons, and we experience the ebbs and the flows and the cyclical nature of demand during the season and lack of demand during the off season. So other places you can look to go if you did want to put a company or put a student into for 8 months and then short-term rental it out, is up on Country Club, and it's close to UBCO. So that is that if you are looking for a different, unique property, it does have all the amenities and great opportunities there. And we do have a client that has one, and he absolutely just cleans up, puts tenants in it during the school year for 8 months, and then rents out short-term during the summer when the students are gone, and just doing very strongly. So if you do want more information, you want to get that entire list directed to you, just reach out, give us a call, pick up that phone, and we would love to help you out and see if we can make something work.